Hey guys, it's your best box friends. I'm Kelsey. This is Rachel. Rachel, I thought by the time we went up here we'd have a topic to talk about.
No, you don't have a topic?
I mean, it just seems like there's not a whole lot going on in the boxing news world. You know that, troll that stuff so that I can write about it. I mean, obviously there's also stuff, there is stuff going on, but stuff like Dillian Whyte, reportedly, they found trace amounts of something in his pre-fight drug test. The UK Anti-Doping Association did. He had a secret hearing before the fight. They cleared him. They let him fight. He won the fight. Thomas Hauser wrote a story for Boxing Scene over the last week about how he had failed a fight or failed a pre-fight drug test. Problem with all this is that it's a lot of information, and I'm not sure. People are quick to rush to judge, point fingers, and decide who's wrong. And I don't know who's wrong. I don't know the story yet, right? There's just so much to find out, and not a lot of people are talking. At least, you know, you can read their statements. There's all this stuff is out there. You can read statements from the UKAD, from you can hear Eddie Hearn talk. You can hear who's a promoter for Matchroom Boxing. The biggest issue was that his opponent, Dillian Whyte's opponent, Oscar Rivas, his team wasn't informed before the fight that the opponent had, in fact, failed the pre-fight drug test. The problem is I don't really know if they broke any of their rules, right? So it sounds like the UKAD is the people that administered the test. There was something they didn't like about the tests. They brought Dillian Whyte in there to answer questions. He provided them information about potentially why he failed the test, and they were satisfied with his explanation. So I don't know.
Right, if you have an organization that has power over this and they followed like whatever protocols they have in place, then it seems like everything is fine, right?
Well, and if it's trace, I saw trace amounts of something. I didn't look like, let's say the doctors that determine these type of things say, oh, well, we can see how you might have this in your system because you said you took this, whatever, or whatever happened.
Yeah.
And this amount, in reality, doesn't really enhance performance. Therefore, we're going to let you fight, etc. So there's a lot of that stuff going on in boxing, but it's a lot of like people rush out to get the story out, obviously, with the information they have.
Yeah.
More if you're on Twitter or probably even on here on YouTube, people are going to rush to villainize Eddie Hearn or UKAD or Dillian Whyte, right? They're bad and we hate them and blah, see, they're cheaters, whatever. I don't know. I don't know the story, right? I don't know how this story plays out. I am interested to see it. Sergey Kovalev also was reportedly taken off an airplane for maybe grabbing some woman and throwing some money at her.
What the?
So Kovalev's had some issues similar sounding to this in the past.
Yeah.
He's like a big animal, that guy. But again, it's like one report maybe from, I don't know, like all the information isn't out. I don't know the situation. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. So obviously, if you're out there, don't grab women and throw money at them on airplanes. I don't know. I don't care if you know the girl. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever. Just kind of be civil. Don't do stuff like that. But at the same time, sometimes when we read the facts about something, we fill in all these gaps.
Well, yeah. So imagine that that like maybe you're like going on a trip or something, and you're with somebody, and maybe I don't know, maybe you're going on like a guy's trip or something, and you guys just start like hanging out and like having a good time, and maybe you like say something that in the context of your little group of people might be hilarious.
Right.
But you said it to maybe a woman that you don't know walking by, or I don't know what it is that could be said, but like it's like she maybe is really sensitive and maybe like whatever. I'm just saying you could have extremes of like
or maybe he like just went over there and groped her and like that. But
well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like sometimes things can happen that if you were there and you saw it in context, you'd be like, oh, well.
There would be less outrage.
There would be less outrage. Yeah. But when you see it in print in black and white, it's like, oh my gosh, what an animal.
You make up the story I said.
Because you fill in the gaps. So this is the reason, like, you know, people like Dave Chappelle don't allow people to have devices at his shows.
Yeah.
Because people can film or record one thing.
Right.
And that can be completely taken out of context and like ruin like somebody's whole career.
Yeah.
And so that's what like all that I'm saying. I'm not saying that
I'm
you
not
know
condoning any
Kovalev like
behaviors.
deserves like
Whatever.
defense or whatever. I also understand that like it's hard. Like sometimes people come from different cultures. So like I know that you used to work with somebody that came from a different culture, and in our culture he's considered very chauvinist.
Yeah, he would say things and like right.
So like, but I think that you have to bring a certain level of understanding. It doesn't mean that things like it's okay what's happening, but I think that you can understand and maybe work towards growth.
Right. Well,
instead of like when you get really mad about something and you're like, then you just try to silence the other person, and usually silencing people doesn't lead to growth.
Or try to shame, and really like the reality is none of us are perfect.
Right.
And we're all growing and learning, and some people, like the person you mentioned I work with, he grew up somewhere else and like learned different things, and then you get into people growing up in dysfunctional situations. People grow up that were abused. We don't have all this information. Therefore, the whole point I'm trying to make is there are some stories out here that are going on, but I, as a YouTuber/boxing journalist, I don't really want to get into it because I don't have all the sources that can tell me all the specifics, because I don't think they exist yet.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not the person they'd give it to. And also, I don't want to get into the name and shame culture that is prevalent in our society, because I don't think it's useful. And there's plenty of that out there. So if that's your thing, you go somewhere else, I guess. I mean, like, that's
kind of related to the first thing you talked about. One of our subscribers commented and asked us, what do you think about Pacquiao Thurman? They're not being beta testing for that. And I saw it, didn't answer, thought about it, came back, and my answer was I think that drug testing in sports in general, that we have a lot of work to do, because there's so much that like we don't know. For example, there have been athletes who have been dinged for like taking a certain thing that's now allowed. You know what I mean? Like over time. And that's like, I think it's crazy that we don't have this same standard for PEDs in Hollywood that we do in sports. Because if you need a level playing field, if that's the reason why we're doing it, then don't actors need a level playing field? Maybe I want to be a Marvel superhero, but I don't want to take a bunch of stuff.
Well, the difference is the fighters could possibly injure each other. I see what you're saying.
Well, I'm just saying, or is it really harmful?
My take on that, the truth about PED testing is that there is no athlete today who signed up for 24/7 VADA PED drug testing. I saw that the other day. So, what do I think about there being no testing? Well, there was testing. There wasn't at first, but then when that came out in the news, they signed up for that stuff, right? And so what do I think about it? I don't think about it because it's not a real thing. Like, if you either have drug testing or you don't, right? And apparently we really don't. And even when you have drug testing for 2 or 3 months before a fight, that's really not enough time. There's people that can be cycling off stuff. I'm sure they're great at masking things, especially if they know when the window is, they'll be tested. So I think it's an issue that exists, but it's not something that's going to be solved.
Like information.
It's not like some fighters are clean and some fighters are dirty.
Conflicting interest in this regard, especially in boxing.
There's a lot of conflicts of interest that I see that I'm not really going to talk about it. But if you look around and read and think, you'll see it. You'll see a lot of conflicts of interest, I think.
Yeah. Where there's no conflict of interest is when you like, comment, and subscribe, because what is that going to conflict with? You watch Real Talk with Kelsey and Rachel, so like, comment, and subscribe.
Do it.
No conflict.
Do it, and I guarantee you, we are not drug tested.
What?
I'm not right. I mean, I don't take nothing, obviously. I'm not like a Hulking. I don't look like The Rock.